Hi, Karl. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Big fan of yours, so it's a great to speak to you.
Oh, mate, nice one. Nice one for. I had to put it off a bit because there's been some family crap. My ma's not been too well, so wanted to do when I could chat. So I wasn't mugging you off. So nice one. Because I've seen it. I've seen it. You have some really eclectic, cool guests on, man. I saw you with what's his name from the Jam,
Bruce
Bruce.
Foxton, yeah.
Yeah, man. And I'm literally reading Paul Weller's book at the minute, dancing through the shadows, and Bruce has got he was in it all the way through the first quarter, and then literally saw him on your pod. So he's a geezer, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for being a fan as well of
Of
what
course,
you do.
man.
But, yeah, like you say, you've had a busy year as well, haven't you? We've had this, planned a while, but can you tell us what you've been up to?
Yeah. Well, there's been the final season of Brassic mainly has been the biggie, mate. That's dropped, and there was kind of a big Ronnie episode to finish in the finale in the season. Well, the show's finale, and all the way through, it's just been me being a lunatic as Ronnie, which people love. But I just said, if I go back for this final one, we have to really dig into why Ronnie's the way he is, and they pulled out a blind of an ep for me, and got to do real emotional stuff and that, as opposed to just being fucking Ronnie Croft and just being a lunatic.
TJ, I was fucking angry. Because you pulled the same shit yesterday that you did on the first day of school and then every fucking day after that.
It's just fucking kid stuff, Ronnie.
We're not kids anymore, are we? I'm a fucking person. I'm a fucking real person. I'm not just some fucking runty little fucking smelly fucking shit that everyone could just fucking kick about and smack around the head and fucking have a go at all the time. It's all the fucking time. And I know why they do it. I do, and that's the most annoying part. It's because I am a liar, I am a bullshitter. But if you've been told that since day one, that you're fucking nothing, that you're a piece of shit by everyone all the fucking time, then you're gonna start believing that, aren't you? And if you start believing that, then that's what you're gonna be, innit?
So there's been that. So the response to that's been mega. Another thing I did on Channel 4 was only a few episodes of a show called Pushers. But I also have a production company in that as well. So I'm obviously constantly developing projects and producing and writing. I've got a book on the go, a novel, and just which I'm going to dip into this. My book agent, we're talking about maybe writing a little bit of a memoir. Now, not because I think I'm a superstar. It's not that. It's just that while I was in the industry when I was younger, there was loads of other shit going on at home, and it could be quite good to show how all of that was going on at once, and quite cathartic. So, but it won't be all dark and bleak, I'll have fun with it. And so, yeah, I think we're going to call it Milk Boy.
Well, that is the advert, isn't it? The Accrington Stanley advert.
Well, yeah, man, that's all everyone's asked about.
Well, how did that come about? Did you always want to be?
Oh, mate, well, I was 8, which is wild, really. And pretty scally family, never going to be going into that. But my granddad, my ma's dad, he was an actor. He done loads, he's not with us anymore. But he did loads of stuff. He's in Boys from the Black stuff, and he did Oliver, Fane at Oliver at the Royal Court, and loads of shows. He had about 500 credits on his CV. He was mates with Ricky Tomlinson, right? So from Royal Family and all that, who ended up becoming my agent. So I'll get to that. So then Ricky said to me, Grandad, "Hey Al, they're doing this nationwide campaign at the minute, kid, for for some advert, and they're looking for lads my Carl's age, and I'd never, of course I was 8. It's not like it's like, oh no, I'm busy working down the fucking docks, like I was a baby. So anyway, do you want to do it? Well, yeah, that'd be sound. My old fella's straight on it because he's like, right, well, that pays for fucking skull for the next 10 years. So then anyway, it was like, yeah, let's go for it. And they were looking all around the country and they saw thousands of kids, literally. And they didn't know if they're going to go Scouse, Southern, anything. And then initially in the script, because it was this Accrington Stanley milk advert, people don't know, and I did in the 80s, and it ended up becoming a big thing for some reason. But they initially wanted it to say, I'll only be good enough to play for Spurs. And then Tottenham Hotspur wouldn't let them say it because it's like derogatory. And so then they changed it to Accrington Stanley. And then I had the Scousest accent in the world at the time, like some just Scouse helium addict. It was just like the highest pitched Scouse voice imaginable. And then you put exactly in Accrington Stanley with that really strong accent. And that's what people remember, And but they shot with the other kid as well. And I remember there was like 4, there was about 7 recalls. And then the last 3 was down in London at Pinewood Studios, or was it Shepperton? No, it was Pinewood, because then literally 35 years later, I was back there doing a Disney film called Cruella, and that's where I'd done the advert, 35 years, which is mad. And then they shot the advert with loads of variations of different kids. And then you didn't know because you only saw my dish and then you heard the other lad's voice. But then you didn't know which one you were going to show, right? And they didn't give us any dates of when it was out. So then, anyway, we got told, they're using the one with you in, but we didn't know whether you were going to see my face, you're going to see the other kid's face. And then I remember for about a week, we got told it's going to be around this week when it first comes out. We didn't even have batteries in our remote control. We were fucking skint, and not scruffs, but batteries were a luxury. So I was down at the video player every ad break to press record, and I looked away, and then I just said, "Have you got any lemonade?" And I turned round, and my big stupid face was just filling the screen. I was like, "Whoa!" And then press record. And then it just went nuts after that. I remember the woman who lived next door, Jean. She fucking hated me because we should always beat the ball in the garden and all that and just wind her up. And literally 5 minutes after the ad was on, knock on the door. Did I just see Karl? I was like, fucking get out. You didn't want to know me. But yeah, and then, because we lived in Widnes, because I was born in Liverpool, but we lived in Widnes at the time, which is even smaller, tiny, really small place, really. And so then when it blew up there, it was kind of mad, because it just went huge. It was never off.
Yeah.
People and I don't want to stick on it for too long, but I was invited down to Anfield about 6 months ago when Liverpool were drawn out against Accrington Stanley. I'm in the director's box with Rushy and Dalglish, and they've got shirts for me. And obviously they know I've done other stuff now, but it all stemmed from that. And then I've got a photo on my Instagram of me just like that with my hand over my face, and Ian Rush has shown me his phone, and what he was showing me was fucking Robbie Fowler and Steve McManaman doing my advert, and it was Ian Rush showing it me on the phone, and I'm a big Liverpool fan, and it's wild. And yeah, so that's why the production company's called Milk, because I've kind of worked fairly regularly, everyone's out to work. I'm a jobbing actor, but I've done a bit, and but it's the advert. I've got it in this book I'm writing. The other day I was in the cafe and someone come over about Brassic and asked for a selfie. And they were like, "Oh yeah, Ronnie Croft, yeah, great advert." So I was like, "Yeah, of course, man." And then did that. And then he was like, "But do the advert for us, lad." And I'm like, well, it's a bit fucking weird to do an impression of an 8-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, look at the fucking kip of me, man. No one's going to go, "Oh yeah, identical." Like, so, and then he's like, "It's all right, lad, I'll do the other part." And it was like, but then that's just me impersonating an 8-year-old with a fucking stranger. Like, what? Why no? So it sounds, I wouldn't be in this industry without it. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, it can piss me off sometimes, this industry, but the same with every job. But I wouldn't have got into it without it. And then after that, the floodgates just opened. It was mad for a long time, like just how much I was working. Every fucking job I went in for. I did 10 adverts the same year, then Children's Ward, then this big series with Tony Robinson, who's Baldrick from Blackadder, then Brookside, then a film for Willie Russell, a film for Terence Davis. It was just non-stop shows I can't even remember doing. It was mad. And then Ricky Tomlinson was my first agent. And there's still clips out there of me and him on like This Morning and breakfast shows and shit. And I'm there in like light double denim. Just looking shocking.
Like you said, you were like 8 or something back then when you did the advert. How did you deal with that, like with the sort of this new fame?
Honestly, like dead easy.
Really?
I'm not gonna. Yeah, it was. And don't get me wrong, it was. I didn't have a perfect childhood, so maybe it was good escapism. For one, two, I wouldn't have been allowed to get up my own arse, so I was very aware of that. Or maybe not aware, but subconsciously you are. There's been like staunchly working class, especially back being from Liverpool. You're not allowed to get above your station, and when you do, you get fucking immediately brought back down. Like you do to an almost brutal extent sometimes, but it's always for the best in a way, you know.
Yeah.
No one's really a dickhead. Well, no, there are loads of dickheads, but you know what I mean. Like you're not allowed to be a fucking knob. But yeah, and I responded sound to it, and it was mad for a bit. You know, like every newspaper. I remember like the News of the World, or was it the People? One of those fucking red top rags. And they did a piece on me. Honestly, like I'm not being a knob here because I don't do this anymore. I'm just telling you how mad it was then.
Yeah.
It was I was everywhere. It was mad. Like I did an interview, this double page spread for the People, and the headline was "Little Carl's in no rush for milk." And they just made up a lie that I was forced the milk during the advert because this was a big double page thing because a few years after the ad, and I just won an award at the London Palladium for Best Child Actor of the Year and was doing a lot. And so there was all this press. But even as a kid at that age, they just made up that I was like forced to drink milk. Like they were like, fucking, why don't you fucking drink it? But I didn't say that. I just said I prefer like lemonade or glass of squash or whatever rather than milk. And they just flipped it round, and then you're like, wow. And I was very conscious of that then. I had to be very conscious of everything because the house I grew up in, I was conscious of the bullshit that went on in the industry as well. So I clocked it, you know, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, like it wasn't like I wasn't fucking Macaulay Culkin, but certainly in my little microcosmic world of Widnes and the Northwest, and actually just it was mad for a bit, yeah, it was. But nothing that you couldn't handle, you know. And even at school, the teachers were worse than the kids. There was no bullying, and like we were in a, you know, we had the bullies, but it's not like I was cowering in the corner, so I wasn't afraid of that. But it was the teachers who'd be like, because I was a bit cheeky, I was a bit talky, I wasn't a bad kid, but you know, got suspended a few times or whatever, you know, just the nonsense. And but it'd be the teachers who'd be like, don't think I'm impressed by you. And then you're like, I don't. I was just talking to me mate. It's nothing to do with the fact that I'm on the fucking telly. And the drama teachers, imagine how much they hated me. You know?
Yeah.
Well, of course they did. Some little knobhead who then I've got in their class chatting away, then goes off and does Brookside while they're teaching, you know, like. So yeah, it was just a bit mad, but nothing I couldn't really handle, you know.
Well, you mentioned the advert came about like out of nowhere, like you weren't acting or anything. So when you started getting TV roles, what did you adapt to it straight away?
Yeah, I wasn't. I had this commercial face at the time, and you weren't used to regional accents, and it was very RP. You know, still posh kids then in the 80s going into the 90s. It was the very end of the 80s for me going into the 90s. Yeah, so there was that was why I was getting cast a lot. I wasn't an amazing actor. I was like one of not the way you see these kids in America, for example. And you get it more so now in England. But I used to watch the kids in America and look at them and just go, they're on another level to me. I was all right what I do. I rate myself now, and I'm not doing this humble thing, but as a kid, there was just something that the casting directors liked about me. And it came dead natural. I don't get nervous about anything, really. Still now, which may be ludicrous because, I think I should be good at everything and I'm not. But I could go onto sets. I was very comfortable with adults. And when I worked with like the big names, or your first time walking onto Brookeside Close and doing a scene with Sinbad, and then these people, it was just like, it was mad because I just watched it on the telly, but it didn't feel weird at all. At all, really. And I'm dead comfy on sets now. Like, I see other people who some people way better actors than me who have to really prepare the night before, even if they've got a bit of dialogue that big. Whereas I can look at something once and I'm good. Or I'll improvise, or I'm very comfortable on the set. There's no nerves there. And then there are other people who BAFTA winners and shit like that. So it's not that one way's right or one's wrong. I've just been very relaxed, I think, about doing that.
It is crazy. Like you mentioned Macaulay Culkin before, like his childhood fame obviously went down a dark route. Would it have been easy to go down that way, or?
I did for a bit, man. Like, when I was 18, loads of shit happened at home, put my owl fella in prison and that. And that's all out there, so, but I'm not going to get into it. And then and I was still working this time. I was doing a play at the Royal National Theatre in London for like 10 months, the most illustrious theatre in the country. I was doing a huge drama straight after the National over in France with John Thor. The biggest ITV drama budget of its time, set in like World War II occupied France, and then at the same time traveling back to do this medical show. I can't remember what it was called, but it was one of the good ones, not like a Holbein. I've done all those, but the reason I'm saying all this is I was doing this stuff in the midst of being a bit of a fucking lunatic, to be honest, and. Like when I was out in France, and I was 18, I just put my alpha in prison. I was all over the gaff, right? But I was doing me thing, and but when I was, I got arrested in France, just being bladdered, right? Basically, what happened? Dominic Monaghan, who played Merry in Lord of the Rings, right? He was in this drama. We played best mates in it. He just found out he'd got the part. He hadn't told anyone he'd been auditioning. He just found out he was going to do fucking however many of those films about everyone bombing about looking for jewellery. And then I'm not a fan of them. I didn't know what he was talking about when he was talking about the book. And you're like, I'm an 18-year-old really scally working class kid. We didn't read Tolkien. Do you know what I mean? But apparently it was this big thing. So me, him and one of the other actors, and this was an every night thing, just getting absolutely blotto, like while we were filming. The reason I'm saying it is just because it was so crazy then, the thought of doing that. And basically, we'd left the hotel room. We drank 2 bottles of tequila between me, him, and somebody else, right? In celebration. The last thing I remember is going downstairs and saying, I don't even feel drunk. I just feel stoned. Next thing I know, I wake up. And I'm like, I must be just waking up in my room, Ugh, this fucking room's a bit cold. And I'm just on a concrete slab in a prison cell, right? Because it's this tiny little French medieval town called Le Touquet. And so I'm like, with the worst hangover imaginable. Imagine that. The cell is almost as, not much bigger than the bed. And I jumped up and I'm banging out, get me the fuck out. Didn't know what was going on. And the exec producer of Carlton Productions had to come and bail me out. And then I found out what had happened was we'd got to the bottom of the stairs. Someone had stacked it and gone back to the hotel and crawled back up to the room. I was going, no, we're going to the Red Rock bar because we were meant to be meeting everyone in the Red Rock bar. Fell over in the middle of the road, was laid down, police van was patrolling, and I'm giving it all the fuck off, just like an idiotic 18-year-old fool, and got banged up. And then was flying back the next day to do this medical drama back in the UK, and they had to postpone it for a day so I could get well. You know, just, and the reason I'm saying all this is, I had my mad spurt, you know, but mine was completely in reaction to really shit that was going on. But you also, all this shit's going on whilst you've got cameras pointed at you, or while you're on stage in the West End, you know, as a lead, and just mad, really. And I was all over the gaff. And but I had that period, and it went on for a bit, probably late 20s, really. And then now I'm, you know, I'm in my 40s and I'm incredibly sensible. And I drink like Coke Zero. But yeah, now, like, the thought, and how meticulous I am about everything, and OCD to a crazy extent with a lot of things, and how absolutely obsessive I am with my work, and every punctuation, and being 15 minutes early for any meeting. And, you know, that's who I really am. But, you know, in that phase, you know, which is just all kind of fucking concocted from industry and personal and everything else. It's wild, really. Absolutely wild. But there was a lot of fun out as well, you know. There was a lot of fun out as well.
It's, well, like you say, you're 18. You're still a kid, aren't you, at 18?
Mate, I've just left home after being in, like, the worst house ever. All my game's like, right, you want to see some fucking carnage? Let's go. And I did. I absolutely tore the arse out of it, you know.
You mentioned, like, Ronnie Croft is a bit of a lunatic.
Yeah.
So then, like, mad years, would you kind of go back into that? How do you approach characters?
Well, I've, you know, there've been anyone that knows me, like, I know I'm a good person, but I'm also a bit of I'm not one of those people that go, oh, I'm mad, me. But I'm a bit nuts, you know. So I can easily tap into those characters to just do the mad, you know. I can easily do that. That can, like, that. So that's why it was lovely, because that's very easy for me, and comedy is very easy for me. So although Brassic were amazing and give me the freedom to honestly to improvise so much of my stuff across all of that series, like, so much. Is that then when I got the opportunity to go back and do this last episode was more dramatic than comedy, much more, you know, real big crying breakdown scenes and shit. Yeah. So just in response to your question, yeah, I can do the mad stuff easy, because it's not that far away, you know. It's always there. It's always right there.
It's one of the best shows that's been on telly, like, in a while, Brassic. Obviously,
yeah, people have responded really well to it, you know.
He's just finished on it, like, the last episode that last week.
Yeah.
My favourite episode is the first one you were in, you know, with the weed dance.
Oh, the weed farm. People buzzed off that episode, you know. Like, people love that episode.
It is class.
And I remember, like, meeting, because it's, you know, big fan of Joe Gilgan. This Is England and all of that. And we'd all met at the table read very briefly. Michelle Keegan, who's fucking double close mate now. And all of the others. And I knew a few of them. But then Dom West, man. You know, it's just Dominic West from The Wire. I mean, it's McNulty from The Wire. So I'm just like, it's fucking McNulty from The Wire. And I don't give a fuck about actors, man. I've done this since I was 8. If I see a rock star or a footy player or a boxer or whatever, then I'll be like, oh, get on him. But actors, give a shit. I went to the Oscars. An ex-girlfriend of mine won an Oscar and went to the Oscars. Literally didn't bat an eyelid. Apart from Patrick Stewart was there and another superhero, I'm not going to say the name, person was there when we were in the toilets. And I had to have a look and see who had the biggest dick. That was the only time. So I could say whether Marvel or DC. And then I remember introducing myself to Dom, and he's an absolute gentleman, Dom, like just the coolest fella. And then most of the scene, most of the episode, he's tied to a chair, and I've got this harpoon pointed at, and I'm doing all the madness of Ronnie for the first time, you know. And I remember afterwards, and everyone else, and it's phenomenal, you know. It's a really, really tight episode that I'm going to have to watch that, because I never watch things, you know. But I remember it being really good. And I remember at the end of this, I think it was the day when I'd done all the stuff when I was flicking the ash on the copper's head and all that, and all that stuff. He waited in the car park, Dom, and said the nicest thing. He said, I could have sat in that chair and watched you act all day. I was like, get in there, McNulty's on me, man. So that was good. And then I ended up jumping in his car to go back to Manchester. We both had hotels in Manchester, right? So we're in the back of his car and we stopped off at... I wanted to get some skins and tobacco and that, right, to roll a joint. And Dom did. So we go into this tiny little shop in Moss Side. It was just like a kiosk, right, with, those gaffs that have like one box of Nesquik on the shelf and some fucking Pampers there, like just empty as fuck. And he goes in, he just goes up to the counter. And I'm stood there, and then Dom West is behind me there. And I saw these two scallies come in, and it was fucking hilarious, man. Because, like, the second one came in, and he literally did, like, a sitcom double take at Dom. Because he's, like, it's in the middle of dark Moss Side, right? Pitch black outside, gnarly place. And I saw the lad go. And then he went, nah. Just to himself, right? And that was amazing. I loved that. And it was like, of course, he's going to be going now baked when he's back at the flat. Fucking hell, man. I was in fucking Moss Side before. You're not going to fucking believe this, man. I saw this fucking fella fucking like Ronnie. But yeah, so that was, I think that was the strongest episode I've ever been in, as in, just as a full episode. This final one, actually, for me personally, is the best. But as an episode, I think that was brilliant. The lighting of it out was shot. Do you remember all the purple, like, mad strobe lighting in there? Yeah. And I was smoking all this fake weed stuff to create all this mad shit that was going on. It was nuts. And then Dom West is tied to a chair, and with an old fake weed farm and, not madness, yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. How do you look back at playing Ronnie over the years then in the other episodes and that?
Yeah, man, it was, I've come home from that job, and I think Sky posted a little goodbye thing the other day about Brassic. And there's a bit where I say that I think everyone thinks, certainly with comedy, you go to work and piss about. Like, I come home certainly from playing Ronnie, and I put 100% into any role or anything I'm doing. But with that, like, I can come home fucking knackered, like really wiped out. I've come home with bruises down my face. Big fight scene in the final episode, right? Me and a lad called Taylor, geezer, big lad, who was playing a character called TJ, who bullied me at school. This is what it was all about. We ended up in this basement when all the emotional shit happened. But before the emotional stuff, we were doing this fight stuff and we're launching shit at each other. And when I'm in that zone, because I was with this, I went a bit method, certainly for this stuff. Didn't talk to anyone for ages. Kept myself in this really dark place. I knew when I cry, I want to really cry. And, can't stand it when you see people and it looks forced or just fake. And I never do that. I'm not a twatty actor. But I think it required it. And so when we were doing all this launching at each other, and they only show a couple of seconds of it in the final cut, which I was a bit gutted about, because we're launching swag. But at Taylor, I'm throwing like shuttlecocks and like rubber frisbees and that. Next minute, I didn't know what it was at the time. He's throwing, bang! Now, I take a dig to the face, bro. Now, this isn't me being a twat. I box and stuff and I can take a punch, right? And if it wasn't for that, I'd have been knocked out on camera. Like, it was bang. And I was like, whoa. And I kind of went a bit dizzy and then carried on. And we went straight into the scene where all the crying and breakdown stuff happened, which probably helped that I'd just been fucking walloped. And they were cricket pads that he's thrown at me. You think how hard a cricket pad has to be to stop a cricket ball? And that got launched at me by this 6-foot fucking bruiser. Walloped me, and we didn't even get to see it on the screen. So there's been that. I've had other things with me and Joe had a fight scene in the first season. Fucking throwing hands, come back with bumps all over my head. And this isn't. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. It's where we've gone right. We're going to do this. Let's go for it. Or just doing the emotional stuff, or even the mad stuff. It means. When I've come home from doing that, now don't get me wrong, there are some days when I'm just pissing about and doing comedy and aiming to make Michelle Keegan laugh. Like, there's a cameo in season 2 when she comes to visit me in prison, right? Where Ronnie's found.
That,
yeah. I've said the outtakes are out there, right? And Keegan said it's the hardest scene she's ever had to do in her life. Because I just changed it every fucking time, right? It's like, right, I've got a one scene cameo here, right? I'm going to have a bit of a laugh. And it was staying in the thing, in the framework of it. But that, for example, I don't go on from that going, oh. But when the physical stuff's required or the big emotional stuff required, it gets it. I don't like cheating that stuff. If there's a fight scene, let's have a fight. If it's a crying scene, you cry.
Yeah.
And whilst acting, I'm not just saying be a lunatic, but and it's been fun, and there's been some mad shenanigans from Ronnie within the show, and getting to work with some really boss people, and that's not me saying, I'm best mates with everyone, but I've met some really good people on that show, and Joe Gilgan, actually, he does his art now. Have you seen Joe's art?
Yeah.
He's very good. He did me a painting called Weep from the Chaff, which is one of his, and it's a massive painting. And Joe is oh God, I can't remember. No, Jack, his assistant, right? No, when you go, oh fuck, don't forget his name. He drove it up to mine in Liverpool the week. It's at the Framers now, actually, because it's a huge piece, like tens of thousands in the shop size, like one of those. And that was really nice, me and Joe, anyway, because we two lunatics, me and Joe. So we've had our classes at times, but it ended great. And I couldn't be a bigger fan of Joe as an actor and as an artist. Keegan's bit was amazing. All the crew were always fantastic. Yeah, just some good people, man.
It does seem like a really good cast,
yeah. And obviously, I could come in and out like that. I'm not good at. I did a show called Trolleyed for Sky.
That's what I first saw you in that.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Trolleyed, yeah.
That was like 10 seasons of that, and we went from 8 episodes, 3-week break, and then straight into season 2, which is 10 episodes. Then Christmas specials, and since that. The thought of doing those big long things, I couldn't do that now.
No.
I could, but it'd have to be certain shows. Like Ronnie could never have been in every episode.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. The audience would get bored. I'd get bored. That's why even with this final one, I couldn't go back and just be mad again because it's expected. It's completely expected. So to have gotten to do that is great. Yeah, man.
That's a class scene as well, where you're arguing with that voodoo doll. That puppet, what is it called? With the doll.
Like the little fucking mannequin puppet thing.
Yeah.
The reaction to Ronnie's mad, to be honest. It really is. Like, people really buzz off Ronnie. And I'm dead proud of that because I created so much of that character. He was a one episode just tearaway. And I turned him into something not just your archetypal scally. Kind of just a nutter, like oddly mad, like where the fuck is he from? And created like voices for him and shit. I don't know what they're, but it made me the first time was to make Keegan laugh. And a lot of the stuff that I just came up with, just nonsense stuff. People come up and say to me, and I don't know what they're going on about. And then I go, oh fuck yeah, I said that mad thing. It was sound, man. It was great. It was a dead fun job. I got to do what I wanted to do a lot of the time, and and since it moved on to Netflix and all that, it just kind of blew up. Then I noticed there was something very noticeable about that. The weekend after it had dropped on Netflix, me and my mate Jamie went to Manchester. So this must have been round about last Christmas, and I knew a few people a day coming over and selfies and this and that. It was the second we got to Lime Street in Liverpool, from getting on the train, like non-stop, people from the other side of the street shouting stuff, which is mad. Me and Jamie were like, whoa, like this is crazy. And it's the Netflix thing. You know, people Netflix and chill. You know, they don't say let's Sky Max and chill. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's. I saw Steve was on the other day. What he, you know, Steve Evans, man.
Oh, I had him on. Yeah, last year I had him. The last
Oh, was that last year?
Yeah.
Oh, Steve's a geezer, man. I should have mentioned Steve as well. Steve's amazing. Aaron's sound. Damon, who was in the first series. You know, so many of the cast of sound. Steve Evans, though, man, lunatic.
That's funny when you're staying at his house and you're meditating. Yeah.
I forgot about that, man. I forgot that I lived with Farmer Jim. Yeah. When he's fucking talking to me, like, what's that? Yeah.
What quote do you get shouted at the most then from anything? Is it the moon?
I get obviously Accrington Stanley, no matter what. It's from Ronnie. I remember this bit. I did this scene with Keegan when I'm talking about, and again improvising like an idiot. But I was talking about being a chef, and I was going to get this job, and I was like, everyone inside called me Ronnie the Wok, and then Ronnie go chop chop. Fucking, I can't remember, right? Just nonsense. Just make, and people. I get that a lot. I get Ronnie the Wok a lot. Turning over a new leaf, or whatever it is. What to say? Yeah. What is the line?
Is it open up
and that's it. Open up and fucking hell. What about that? You just have to tell me the fucking line, man.
That's when you first did it, like, isn't it?
Yeah. But that kept popping up all the way through that. But yeah, they did an amazing job with Brassic. They give the audience what they wanted. Do you know what I mean? And it's got that balance. Had that balance between the drama, certainly on Joe's side, and that's what was made up with this last one with mine. You know, it was more a drama, and to see because I'd always played it like this character had never been allowed into the gang, so that's why he fucked them all the time. It was that. He was bullied. Like when it started, it'd been easy to play him just aggressive and violent and actually tough. You know, like even in the final episode, I boxed since I was a kid, so I can throw a punch, but I made sure that Ronnie's punch looked as feeble as possible. You know, yeah, I can't remember what I was saying then. What was I just saying?
No, just about like the series and that last episode and that.
Oh yeah, and yeah, with the drama and what Brassic have done in that balance, I think they, from what I know of episodes that I've been in, and remember that weed farm episode, watching Joe do a scene. I think it was with Keegan, or was he just talking to himself up in the fucking attic of that weed farm? Because I don't watch it, and that's not me. It's not because I'm not a fan of it. I don't watch telly, you know. And I remember him doing this scene, and you know, we just been doing all the mad stuff. It's like, fucking hell, Ronnie, mate, fucking hell, what this fucker doing over here? And then you see him doing this just heartfelt, emotional, personal shit. You know, it's like, wow, man, you don't see much of that in comedy, certainly not from the men. And that's why with that last stuff, I wanted to show that Ronnie was just like a vulnerable fella that had being left out, probably from the gang, from criminal fraternities he wanted to be in, at school, always just kind of on the peripheries. And I can relate to that. I don't mean about being bullied or this and that. I keep myself there, like I do. I live on my own. It's just me and Blue, my dog. Yeah, come here, lad. This is blind Blue.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the lad. He can't see shit. Can you, mate? And so I can kind of get Ronnie a bit as well.
Yeah, like you say, it's a great character.
Yeah.
But it all started on TV with Children's Ward, didn't it?
No, it was the advert first.
No, yeah, but I mean, like on this.
Oh, for series. I think it was Children's Ward. Yeah. And maybe it was it was a series called Story World first with Tony Robinson, Blackadder, right? And I was. So even as a 9-year-old, 9, 10, maybe 10 when I did Story World, fanatical Blackadder, every line I could recite. You know, I was a kid, but loved Blackadder. And Baldrick, certainly as a kid, that's your favourite character because you don't really get the nuance of Rowan Atkinson. You can get the stupidity of Baldrick. Do you know what I mean? And then I worked with him every day for months each series. I think we did about 3 series. It was basically Tony was an author, so he'd go to the camera. Hi there, I'm Tony. I write kids' books, and if I type these words, if I type these keys, it comes up on the screen. And it's when, remember the Amstrad with the fucking green writing? Oh no, of course you don't. Of course you fucking don't. And so we basically went across the top row of keys and went, QUERTYUIOP. He went, QWERTY up? That's a funny word. And then me and this girl come out with a book, and that's the magic word. And then Tony wrote us adventures each week. So then we'd go and do these. So we got shown in every school. Remember when you used to do like fucking, maybe you didn't do this. How old are you?
24.
Fuck you, man. And so you'd have like telly hour, like, and you'd go and watch this kind of educational / fun thing. And this was one of those for the schools. It was on BBC Two. And that went for a bit. So I remember doing that. And there were other things. Obviously, there was so much happening as a kid. But then Children's Ward was big because that and Biker Grove at the time. Biker Grove was the Geordie thing with Ant and Dec and all that in. And Children's Ward was ITV, they were BBC. And there was like this almost like EastEnders and Coronation Street battle, you know. We used to meet up on the street like West Side Story for a fucking fight. And that was boss because it was at Granada Studios, where the Coronation Street set was there that I'd end up being on 25 years later. Coronation Street set there, you got the Granada Studios tour set, which was like this, and I did an advert for them, and then I'm back to the studio working on something else where that's part. It was kind of mad, really. And then I remember it was Granada, so you had a chaperone that had to come with you to there because it was every day through the week. And I remember getting to Granada Studios. It was like the big red writing at the top of the building that you've seen on so many like fucking adverts or news or whatever. You're like, whoa, man. And you walk through and you just see the cobbles through like little gaps and doors and shit. And you're like, whoa. And then, I was playing a diabetic called James for a few series. And Stephen Graham did I think it was his debut as well with me in a scene where Stephen, even then, was the fucking bad lad. He was having a ciggy down in the basement of the hospital. And my character went down there, and his name was Mickey. And me and him had a chat then. He was trying to give me some of this ciggy. And anyway, I told the nurses that the hospital or something burnt down. Not all the hospital. But, I remember, because I did Good Cop then with Stephen. 20 years later, this BBC cop drama thing. Not with him. He played one of the baddies. I was a copper. I actually played a good... Although I was still the knobhead. I was still a dick. As the copper, I was the knob. Like, just always, it's just a bit of a snide. And then, as in Children's Ward, playing a diabetic and found out, best part of 20 years later, that I was diabetic, And, the director tried to get me to inject myself with a real needle, which was good of him. And I was crying my eyes out because I was a kid. And I was like, I can't fucking do that. No, it's just, the thing is, Carl, it's the tiniest little needle. And they weren't, because it was the 80s. So it was like a fucking harpoon. It was like that thing I was pointing at Don West. And I'm like, fuck. And then the nurses, I remember one of the nurses played by an actor, female actor called Carol Harvey. What was that a character name? Can't remember. But she was like my first big crush, like fucking gorgeous she was. And then she stood up for me and went to the director and was like, no, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing? I remember saying to him, he's a fucking baby. What do you mean you're going to fucking... And anyway, that all got dealt with. But I ended up being a diabetic in that. I did 3 seasons. So he was a diabetic that fucking didn't look after himself. So I don't know why he was in hospital all the time. But as well, weird things. About 15 years later, some lad that my older sister, who I don't see anymore, but who my older sister got with, was diabetic. And when he watched Children's Ward as a kid, something happened in the show that wasn't realistic as a diabetic. And he'd sent a letter in to like Point of View or something like that. And it was about me in this show. And 20 years later, he was with my sister. Just madness, man. And so, yeah, and then, yeah, awards. Like it was at the London Palladium. I remember there being a double page spread of me and my sister in the fucking Daily Sport, which is like almost like a porno mag that used to be around. This paper with just saucy anecdotes and topless women. Awful thing. And me and my sister like 3, I think she was like the youngest legal child to be in a smutty fucking paper, you know. And yeah, it was all a bit mad up to non-stop and dramas and that up to like 16, 17. Then you start going from child to man then. Brookside obviously was massive.
Yeah,
Certainly for the Scouts, and that was huge.
I would say that was a massive programme, wasn't it?
Massive. There? And when I was on it, it was when Anna Friel, who I ended up doing Deep Water with 25 years later in the Lakes for ITV, Anna and Nicola Stevenson, who I'd done Children's Ward with 3 years before, they did the first lesbian kiss on TV. So there was that storyline. There was the big Jordache storyline where the abusive father got buried under the patio, which was very close to home. And that's all I'm going to fucking say. Don't get me wrong, I didn't bury him. He was just a twat. I wish I fucking had, man. So yeah, Brooks, I remember coming out I remember the car, because obviously you got a car to take you to work. I remember it pulling up. We weren't living in Liverpool at the time. Like I said, we were in Widnes. So we'd come in from Liverpool. I remember going down to where it was, West Derby, I think it was, and going round this cul-de-sac that I thought was it. It was like, it looks different. And then we come round and it was just Brookside close. And that at the time it was as big as Corrie and EastEnders. It was fucking huge. And I think it was only for about a year or something like that, but it was massive that. I remember that one being, because again, I'd gone in for the audition, and this was only as a kid. It's absolutely not the case now as an actor, because it's brutal out there. But every single audition I went for, I got. Every single one. It got like to the point where it was mad. We'd be told at some auditions, you've got it. They used to be this brutal to the kids. They'd go, okay, we've cast it, thank you, you can go home. And then they'd just tell you when you were going to shoot in the room. That happened so many times. And with Brookside, we'd been in for the audition in the morning. And then by the time, because no one had mobiles then, by the time we got back, I think it was me and my owl fella, by the time we got back, my ma said, the agent's just called, you got it. Jeez. So I'd been told about Brookside before I'd even got back to the house. And I remember going over to the field with a fucking golf club and a ball at the back of this school by ours. I remember just on my own, just fucking at this thing going, shit, man. Even as a kid going, fuck, I'm going to be on a soap. Soaps are massive, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, they never are not massive. They're always huge.
Millions in it. Millions of people watch them.
Mate, and they get stick. Try churning out storylines that have people in the millions hooked every single night. It's not for me. I don't watch it. I can't do that with telly. So what I do with my annoying ADHD, obsessive eye would be going, well, that set's too bright. Why is the light like that? So I can't. But I've got loads of my mates work in soap. I've done Corrie, I've done Brookside. Mates write for soap, produce, direct. It's seen out countless other genres and forms of TV. Things just falling by the wayside, and these just keep fucking going, man. Yeah, they've had to, budgets have come down. You see less extras now. Just think of the Queen Vic and the Rovers years ago. They'd be packed with extras and punters. You don't see that now. You see the small setups because there's not the money there anymore, but they just get around it.
Yeah.
So, and then, it was then to the Royal National Theatre. Started at the Everyman, a play called Guiding Star, playing a lad. So I was just 18, just as I was left home. And I think I was playing a 16-year-old. A guy comes to terms with his sexuality, gay character, written by Jonathan Harvey, wrote Gimme, 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 and massive playwright, you know. He's a mate now. And he wrote books and shit. And so it started at the Everyman in Liverpool. We did it about a month there, and then we took it to the National for 10 months, which is as long a play run as I thinking of it now. Wow. And there'd be like the odd week where you'd have less days or coming back. But like I said before, I'm not going to go over it again. I was a loon at the time, how I was doing, honestly. But I also went to the Ministry of Sound for the first time. Didn't pay to get in, straight in the back door, because one of the other cast members was in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, right? And it was massive at the time. Moved straight in, he knew all the DJs. I got my first pill, and it came up in the DJ box with Carl Cox on 3 turntables. That was my first pill. It was all going to go downhill after that. And I remember that night, we were in the VIP section, with like a wedge of cards about this thick, I remember, for just free drinks. Imagine this to an 18-year-old that's been in witness with a shit house and all that. Suddenly, whoa, I'm in London. I'm in the West End. I've got all this. I wasn't even kipping anywhere. I'd go out, then walk the streets, then go to the theatre in the morning, get my head down in the bed in the theatre, then go on stage.
Jesus.
Lunatic. But I killed it, man. And yeah, I remember, don't know if you remember, Neighbours, a character called Toadfish from Neighbours, right? Big character in that show. He used to have this big, like, plume of hair in a ponytail. It was when Neighbours was the biggest show on earth. And I'm in the up in the VIP place. It's about 4 in the morning. I'm in the ministry. I'm like, I'm looking over the dance floor, and I just feel a tap on my shoulder. So I'm off my nut, and it's Toadfish, and he's like, "Excuse me, man, have you got any pills?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on, man?" And I remember splitting and just walking around London, and the light was coming up. It was kind of there was some fun times, and then yeah, straight from that went to France. All that mad stuff happened. Did that drama, a couple of shows, and I got back, and then a few more bits, and then I retired for a while, man, completely from acting.
Good.
I'd had enough. I'd been doing it from a baby. I wasn't in the place to take anything seriously. Didn't want to. Wanted to write as well. I wanted to DJ. I wanted to be in a band. And I did all these things and do what I wanted to do, because it'd been a fucking full-time job from an 8-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
So then I had the thing and I was, honestly, man, like, I was nuts. So I stopped then, wrote my first script. I got picked up by the BBC and then got into writing, and that then just carried on and on and on and on. And then, let's say it must have been, and I've done a few little retirements, but the main one was that I did about 5 years. And then just when people would get in touch and say, "Karl, are you sure you don't want to?" And I'd be like, or a film would come up that I'd go and do a table read for, and then it wouldn't get off the ground. So I'd go, fuck this. Do you know what I mean? It's nonsense. And it's still like that. It is. It's brutal, man. And so yeah, so I'd take time out and do what I wanted to do and go and do. I'm saying this with absolute love and respect for them, for normal jobs. And man, I would get sacked from every fucking one of those jobs, like every single time. And or I'd walk out, or I'd try hospitality. But I was living in Manchester at this point, and I worked out when I was last in Manchester. I'd worked and been sacked from or left every single bar and restaurant in the whole of Manchester city centre. Literally, with the time when I was there wasn't anywhere left for me to try, and because I wasn't built for it. I couldn't do it. I'd have little scams going. Oh mate, like, didn't like the managers and their little power trips. And I'd walk out, and the girl I was with at the time, man, I'd come back to the flat and she'd know I'd just walked out. And sometimes it'd just be, I didn't like how the manager spoke to one of the staff, to the other staff, and she'd be like, "Why is that anything to do with you?" But I couldn't let it go, and I wasn't meant to. I couldn't do it. And then, and I'm a grafter, me. I don't stop. But when I'm part of somebody else's structure and schedule and things that I think seem petty, you know.
Yeah.
What colour are your socks? Well, you can't see them. I've got my kecks on. No, but we have black socks with shoes. You can't see them. Can I see your socks? do you want to see me break your fucking nose? It'd kind of go like that. It'd kind of go like that. So, yeah, and then I thought, all right, let's have a go again. Oh, I did stand up. Did stand up comedy. Yeah, I'm going to go back to that.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I was good at that. Terrifying though. No way I said before, I don't get nervous. I get nervous. I got nervous with that. In the morning, I'd wake up and the gigs never went bad apart from one. So I did gigs at the Comedy Store, the Frog and Bucket, the Iguana Bar, all the biggies in Manchester, right? Always went down a fucking storm. Then I got to the final of this competition. One of them, can't remember which place it was. And I was last up. And Des Sharples run it. And I'd been doing a couple of gigs around and he'd call and get me in and stuff. He was a fan of mine. And it's a guy called Mick something. He was and Justin Morehouse, who I ended up working with later down the line on a show called Massive that I did with Ralph Little. All the acts that have been up and given the due, man, it's not an easy thing to do. But knowing you go in, yeah, I've got better stuff than this. I'm all right here. I'm all right. And final one, I get up, and you've got to get to like 8 minutes. As long as you get past your 8 minutes, you can win, right? And I start, and I've got them in the palm of my fucking hand, bro. Like, I really have. Every line, I mean, like hitting. Really big responses. I'm like, oh, it's fucking mega. And then I just went, yes, a fucking... And when I say, it wasn't that just my material had gone, all words have gone, right? I couldn't think of any words. And I'm going, and I saw the fucking Justin and Mick and people on the judges thing, they were going, Karl, come on. And I'm going, and the crowd's going, no. And I just had to, honestly, I stood there and I then riffed for a bit about James Blunt, calling him a cunt, and I would like to piss in his eyes. I think I remember talking about. And and then I had nothing. I just had to put the mic back. I mean, it was the weirdest feeling. Never had it before or since. I've not had it when I've done lines on set or stage, anything. I did an hour and 20-minute one-man show last year and nothing, just easy. I don't know what happened that night. I think whether I was too comfy, and then that really put me off doing it. It worried me. And all I had to have, and I see stand-ups with it all the time, I've got tattoos everywhere, so it's just little keywords. Just have them written there, just as little reminders, And you see that with loads of stand-ups. Why Ricky goes to the fucking plinth and drinks his Fosters. He's not just drinking Fosters. He goes, right, I'm up to that bit, I'm up to there we go.
Yeah.
And then you've got your little reminder. And, but I know a lot of stand-up comedians and I do a lot of comedy. I write a lot of comedy. I can perform to live audiences without being scared. And I think now, because I'm not a loon, when I was doing it then, it was all part of the social thing as well. It was drinking and it was the madness of it. And it was just before I was diagnosed diabetic. I was a rake, man, but I looked cool. So it was that like indie sleaze phase. So I had like little black eyeliner on and like skinny little Island Scott t-shirts and that. I looked fucking rocking. I was just dying. But yeah, I think I'm going to get the next 6 months out the way of some personal stuff with me ma and just getting all that dealt with, and then get the books done, the other bits that are lined up to do, a few meetings that I've got to do, and then I think by about spring next year I'm going to look at doing some stand-up again. Because it helps that I do some stuff on the telly as well. That can get you gigs. That obviously helps. And I couldn't... The thing that's also stopped me is I don't want to be schlepping around every toilet for 30 quid. And I've got no interest in that. If I can somehow sit down with the right places and get on the right bills and do like they did with the hot water in Liverpool. They offered me 20 minutes and then I couldn't. Brassic was just intense filming the last series. Or the block that I did. And that was great because that would have been going in and having a good chunk of material to do and then I can fuck off, So I that's something that my sister Jade, who's my best mate, she said to me the other day, it's mad that you don't do it. So it's like, yeah, I should probably look into it. You see, I'm not going to start naming names, bro, but look at some of the people out there doing fucking arena tours and that. And wow, man, like, I'm everything in my power not to say the names right now, but I'm not going to.
You've got you've got that funny side and that like storytelling side that keeps you like.
Well, I would, and there's a lot of like, look at the world at the minute, man. Like it's hard to satirize as a writer, but it's easy to commentate on in a stand-up capacity. And I'm obsessive with information. I've had to really dilute what I watch and read at the minute, because otherwise you just drown in everything at the minute. It's madness out there. But that would give me a bit of a platform to talk about it. And people might not want to fucking hear it. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Do the milk advert. I'd be like, fuck you, man. Fuck you, Jade. You're not my best mate anymore.
Do you think you could handle hecklers and stuff like that?
Oh, mate. They wouldn't last fucking 2 seconds, man. They wouldn't last 2 seconds because I'd just run off crying. No, I can handle hecklers. I've got no problem with that. But yeah, it's something I'm looking at doing. I'll probably look at getting a stand-up agent or manager, because I haven't got it in me now all the time or the age to be ringing around places trying to pitch myself. You know, here's my CV, here's my spotlight, there's my show reel, there's the gigs that I've done. This is my material. Do a little snippet of it and get some gigs. I think that'd be quite good, and I'll be able to vent some spleen then.
You know, like when you were younger, you mentioned like you were doing jobs like all the time. Did you want to do that, or did you feel pressured to do that?
I think I wanted to get it because it's that thing, and actors still have it now. It's the addiction to getting the call. We've had the offer. There's something about winning that thing, and it is competition. I'm a competitive fucker. And so there's that. No, I didn't feel pushed, even though there was a lot of pressure. And yes, so there was push from me our fella, because he was just a fucking bad fella. But I didn't feel like I was being pushed into something I didn't want to do. I was just doing what I wanted to do, but I was being pushed. And everything was watched and monitored. Every response, every line, every interview I did, you answer with a sentence, not one word. You do that. I was a fucking kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, hard. Like,
yeah, man. So that was tough. But no tougher than shit. You were getting away from it, from all the nonsense in the house. So I was getting away. He'd come a lot of the time, just gagging in like a fucking fool. But yeah, it was. Some of them, let me think, some of the jobs, yeah, I don't think, it's not always enjoyable. It's always interesting. A lot of the time you can be sat round, a lot of the time it's repetitive, a lot of the time it's cold. And this isn't moaning, people work down the docks. My ma worked in an old people's home all her life. I'm not saying that it's a hard job, but it's not always fun. And as a kid back then, fuck me, man, how kids are protected now compared to then.
I was going to say, yeah.
When I think a lot of the stuff that was going on would have been caught on in today's world. Like, definitely. Oh, definitely.
Like dodgy shit or like?
Yeah, just what my dad was like. Yeah. And now kids are protected and looked after, and all these things are observed, rightly fucking so. But when you think back, there was none of that. And it's, it was all right. It was just what I was used to. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like anything was being made worse, but that just wasn't in place then. So kids were paid peanuts. So the milk advert, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, it's still shown all the time. Like we've discussed it. For whatever reason, people buzzed off it. I did a remake of it 20 years later for vodka.
Really?
Yeah, man. With the same dialogue. I was living out in Spain at the time, just me and Blue, writing in a villa at the top of a mountain. Just me, Blue, a villa and a pool. It was fucking rocking. And then I got a call to tell me Asians. I used to just fuck off, And said, I need a break. And when I did me Sexy Beast at the top of a mountain in Spain, and then my advert agent at the time called and said that Black Cow Vodka want to do a complete reenactment of the milk advert, because Black Cow Vodka's made, it gets made with milk. It's a clear vodka that's made with milk, right? And so they wanted to do that. And so I was like, yeah, I ended up getting myself a silly day, because they were like, it's only going to go on websites and that. I was like, no fucker's going to see this. I'd never do a remake for the telly unless it was amazing. I've thought of various ideas. I can't believe no one had got on, considering the popularity that ad just ran and ran and ran. They just wanted to do a reenactment, word for word, nuance for nuance, but it was this vodka, milk vodka as opposed to milk, right? And so I got myself a crazy rate for one day. I remember waking up in my villa in Spain at 6 a.m. The sun was just coming up. A taxi pulled up by the villa at the top of the mountain. I drove to the airport, flew to the UK, went and put a Liverpool kit on, did the fucking advert, which then got given, but they shipped it to my villa in Spain. I can't tell you how much vodka they sent me. I then got back on the plane and was sat at my pool the same night in Spain smoking a joint going, that was fucking bananas. Like, absolute madness. And I love little things like that. You get paid for another. It was a lot of money, but I was spending a lot when it was there. So we paid for about 3 months of brilliance. But yeah, man, it's mad how it came about, and it's still about. That's why I call my production company Milk. Look, like that's on the website, that milk bottle's the eye in the milk. So I got that put on my finger. But yeah, there's never any. If someone comes up to me about that, and with everyone, you know, I'm not some mega famous person, but people see me on some bits.
You know, like that scallywagger. Would you do something like that now on like social media or something? You could, do you know what I mean? Like different times now, and it like.
Yeah. I lost half a finger doing scallywagger.
Really, what happened?
Do you want to hear the fucking story?
Yeah, go.
So we were in. It was when it was BBC on Oxford Street, and I was in probably the prime, and I'm using that word ironically, of my fucking mad spin out. Right, I was right in the middle of the fucking whirlwind, man. And so yeah, I'd done season 1 of Scallywagger, got nominated for an RTS award. Johnny Vegas won, but we met for the first time, and then he ended up playing my dad in Massive, the show that I did with me and Ralph Little. Johnny played me dad, Craig Parkinson played our mate, Joel Fry played our other mate, Christine Bottomley, Lorraine Cheshire. Fucking mad cast.
Yeah, he's a good cast, that, yeah.
Nuts. Paul Kay, come in just to do one episode. Faye McKeever, Beverly Rudd, who I'd then worked with on fucking Trolleyed.
That's something about a band or so. I tried looking for that, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Is it like you were like trying to start a band or something?
Oh, Massive, yeah.
Is it all that?
I think the episodes are online somewhere. It was decent, man. Carnage, me and Ralph were out every night for 7 weeks, but it was a good show. And so anyway, second series of Scallywagger. We'd wrapped early, all been for a few drinks, nothing major. Honestly, nothing major. Yeah, we'd been out, but just the cast having a drink. Everyone fucked off, went back to the hotel, but I had an apartment in Piccadilly Gardens. And I get back to my apartment, it must be about 10, half 10. And I'd left my key in the flat, and concierge thing had gone home. I couldn't get in, but I could see the window outside, and it was on like the 5th floor. I mean, like a seriously tall fucking Gothic building, bro. Like big. This is what I mean. Just lunacy. Right now I'd go, right, well, I'm going to my mum's. And I get on the couch, a little cup of tea and go to sleep, right? So I just start climbing this building. And then I get to about the 4th floor. So I'm like, right, if you fall from here, because I'm covered in scars and broken teeth and everything, right? But I'm like, if you fall from here, it's game over. So I just like slid down the wall to break me fall. I'm just like pinging off window ledges and shit. Bang, bang, bang. To get to the bottom, right? So then it goes like, so it gets me phone out my pocket to call someone to say I'm coming to the hotel. And I was like, is my fucking finger falling off? And it was like, and there was just like a little bit of bone left facing that way, like a little Allen key. And so I had to get in the taxi, go to the Aussie and the carnage. But I quite like it now. It's good for that one. So when the acting dries up, I'm just gonna go around fucking some like really shit magician. It's like that. You want to see a trick, kids?
What are some of your favourite scenes that you've done over the years in anything?
I played a transsexual in Shameless.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that was such a departure. So love doing that. There's the last stuff in Brassic. Really enjoyed showing people that I can act and not just be mad. Let me think. Did a drama called Moving On. Paul McGann from Withnail and I directed it. I just buzzed off working with him because I think it's one of the best British films ever made.
I've not watched that, but I've heard it's a classic.
Oh, have you not seen it?
No, I'll have to watch it.
Oh, he did like it's so funny. Just like line after line, just like every line, you're just like, why do I even bother to write? Like, it's that good. It's really? That fucking good. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I've not seen it for ages. I remember doing this like immersive play at the Royal Exchange Theatre in Manchester called Pub. And I played surprisingly, I played a lunatic. He used to come around the boozer selling stuff. So I got to improvise and incorporate the dialogue, and the people who were part of the audience would sit at the tables in the pub. And I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
You know, sorry.
Go on, mate. No. There's probably loads that I've liked. I kind of, once it's done, I tend to forget about things. But those things for reasons I enjoyed. I think I've done the job I think's right. When I do acting, if I think that's how I wanted to do it, I'm happy. If everyone in the country goes, that was shite, couldn't give a fuck. I think that's how it should be done. Obviously, if you're on set and the director comes up to you, don't just go, no. But they've never done that. So as long as I've done what I want to do and it seems to have gone down all right, I've enjoyed it then.
You mentioned there that Shameless character was completely different to what you'd done on telly before.
Yeah.
Do you like what's the word? You mentioned method acting before, but do you live as these characters? Like, how do you get into this mode?
Well, with that, you know what really helped? How long I was in the makeup chair for. And it wasn't like mad prosthetics and all that, but I'm not good at sitting still for long. I used to be a lot worse. But because I had to for that, and then it's not just a slap of lipstick. It was everything. It's the corset underneath. It was the fake tits. It was the wig. It was the nails. It was when I still had a full finger. Everything about it. So you couldn't not get into that then. So the time just sat there becoming that character, that helps. That certainly helps. But no, I've never had anything, if I'm honest. I would go there because I realised, and this might sound arrogant, but I'm really not an arrogant person. I find acting quite easy because I've done it forever.
Yeah.
But what I really liked doing was seeing when I took myself to a bit of a dark place, because I've done crying scenes and emotional scenes before, and I can get there. But what I enjoyed was, and it wasn't for fucking, I wasn't going to isolate myself in a shed in the Arctic, just looking at childhood pictures. I just, from probably the day before, just got myself into a bit of a mindset. And the whole day building up to when we were going to do this the emotional stuff, I just stayed in one place, sat on my own, didn't really talk to anyone. Because you can't suddenly be normally the way I am, a million miles an hour, and then go to that. I'd be forcing it out then. So that was good. I like doing that, and it's hard. Jobs aren't easy to come by for anyone at the minute in the industry. It's not like it was years ago. But the next one I do that requires something intense, I'll go there again, or go where I need to. And it wasn't like I was just sat there thinking dark thoughts or dragging memories, or I was just in a place of, for the first time, of where that character would be for a few hours before you even do it. And I used to think that was just what knobheads do, honestly. I did. I used to think it was a bit of a cop-out. Oh, shut up. Just fucking go and do your job. Like, why do you have to, But I got a real buzz out of it, if I'm honest. So I'd do that again. That was kind of cool to take yourself to a dark place,
You know that last Brassic episode you were in?
Yeah.
It won't be filmed in chronological order, will it? Or
no, mate. All over the gaff.
So that must be hard to slip in and
out.
Mate,
that's a fucking great question, man. Like, I can't tell you how hard that is. And the order for that last episode was shot in a bonkers manner. The very final scene was shot on the very first day of the very first day of shoot of the entire series. Jeez. So we almost went backwards, and then things in between. And I was a bit worried before it came out, and I never normally watch myself. But me, my sister, and her fella watched it, and I was just a bit nervy about that final one because I knew I'd pulled emotional stuff while doing the mad stuff and all that. And then you go, are they going to match? Is it going to look okay? But it did, and there was a few scenes that got pulled. They do for every season for everyone. The stuff gets filmed and it has to get chopped, and it sucks. No actor will say it doesn't. But it was fucking 90% Ronnie. I can't really complain, But no, it's a fucking great question. It's something that's really tricky when you're doing that. If I'm doing an episode when it's just Ronnie being Ronnie, dude, I'm really not a fucking thesp. I'd be in my trailer, fucking doing whatever, and we go, and it's. I don't have to go to some place for it, or be worried about the chronology of it. But with something like that, it does make it harder. But there's no one's fault. But locationing and scheduling and availability and all that means schedules are the way they are. And I'm not saying they can't be done better, because at times I think they can. But it's never deliberate, and it's just you've got to get around it. But it can be hard, especially if you're doing comedy and drama in the same thing. Yeah, something completely juxtapositional, where tones could really clash, and that's what I was dreading. But what I'd forgotten was, because there's quite a lot in that final one, the scene with me and Joe Gilgan when I go to his gaff to try and get him to have a wank. And I'd forgot about it, but then even the comedy of that is more like panicky comedy as opposed to zany. So it fit. There was a scene at the end that got cut with me and Catherine Tilsley, which I think should have stayed, if I'm honest. But there's always reasons why these things happen. There honestly is, but you wouldn't be honest if you were going, it was just to say I made up about that. I think that should have stayed, but who the fuck am I?
You don't think about that as when you're watching it as a fan, like how much actually gets left out that.
Oh, mate.
Could take the story somewhere else, couldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. There's everyone has those stories from the absolute leads. You know, they'll have scenes pulled, and they'll be gutted. Of course, they will. I remember the big weed farm episode. A scene out of that got cut at the end that I thought up until that final episode, because I was really happy with the basement scene with me and the lads when I cried. Now I think that's my best performance in Brassic. But there was a scene that got cut from that first episode where I'd built it all up to this final scene, and Ronnie's smoking more and more, and that's why there's all that scene when I'm just smoking it, blowing it, and it's everywhere. Because this scene happens where he's wild, but we realise he thinks he's doing it for Erin, and he gets upset, and that's when me and Joe had a fight, and I've come over with lumps on my head and everything, and it was visceral. It was fucking really full on, and I come over from work and was like, oh yeah, you've grafted there, man. And he got caught. And the director, who I really like, John Wright, who directed the first one, I said to him, he's like, didn't need it. And he knows the score, and everyone loves that episode. So maybe in that very first point, if we'd have seen Ronnie, no, I still think they should have kept it. I was just going to bullshit. It should have stayed. But that's a daily occurrence, anything that's filmed, you know. Cruella, I don't think I'm in it.
Really? I saw you had the credit in it, but I've not seen it.
Yeah. So I was brought in. I was on set for 3.5 weeks.
Jesus.
But honestly, mate, like one of my best mates, Joel Fry, he was the co-lead in it. We've worked together on Massive, Trolley. We've written together. We did a pilot called The Ring. Me as a boxer, because I boxed. Joe played my manager. But he's attached into another film of mine, Joel. He's just had his second baby. He lives in Bristol.
Right.
He's a dude, Joel.
He's in plebs and that, and he's funny. Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he is. He's very good. And but it was so funny because there's been shows that I've been further up the fucking call sheet and this and that. The difference between my trailer and his was my trailer could have fit in his fucking toilet. It was ridiculous how big his yard was that he had on site. And you're at Pinewood Studios, you know, home of James Bond. It's wild. I had a day, my first day. It was when I was doing a costume fit. I went down because I was having some writing meetings. I had a meeting at Beano. Like, I was the biggest Beano reader as a kid, right? Like, that was like my main present. That if I got that, Beano and the Dandy, it was huge, right? And next minute, I found myself in the Beano offices pitching ideas for stories. And you're like, this is wild. Then I comes out of there. There's a car waiting for me that takes me to Pinewood for Cruella. And you pull up fucking 007 on the side of one fucking hangar. Mate, then you get put in the golf cart and you're driven around. It's like, it's that big. And you're just like, wow. And I'm only saying all this because you don't even see me in it. There's that much money. There's that, like, you get taken in. Everyone's wonderful. Like, it couldn't be nicer. You then go to costume and you're seeing the Cruella de Vil outfit and this and that. And then I've got a picture of me in the wig. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Where I've got a full fucking wig of hair. And I had a tash at the time that I had in Brassic. Because it was the time I did that little cameo in season 2.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had the tash when I was the bald John Lennon. And
not your corner, he said. Not your corner, though.
I remember being stood in the trailer, and we just done the costume fitting for all the suit, and it's just humongous, this site. And Emma Stone just came onto the trailer in like full Cruella garb, like full on Cruella garb, and I was like, "So who are you playing then?" And I got a little chuckle. I was brought on because they were like, you can improvise, they need people with comedy and this and that. You're going to be one of Emma Thompson's security. Because I've been in for a bigger role and they cast someone wildly juxtapositional to me. So, no problem. Sound, you've gone for a completely different look. Then you got a call from my agent at the time. Do you want to go in? What is it? They told me, like, look, it's not going to be a massive part, but it's a feature film. It's Disney. The money's all right. And I wasn't working at the time, you know. I say no to a lot, considering I've got about fucking 40p in the bank. And I I was like, yeah, go on then, fuck it, I'll do it. So I thought I'm going to be this. Honestly, dude, I was just a fucking extra for 3 weeks, pretty much.
Really?
Like, really fucking embarrassing. Like, and this is the case with so many people I know when on there. Like, I'm not going to name the names because they've not given me the permission, but people in the UK TV, as am I, you're known on telly a bit, and you know you'd never do extra work, and it's the same with these people. And you go onto these humongous things, and the director doesn't know your name, you know, no idea, and you just stood around, and you're getting paid a decent work. And I could easily have been an extra on 150 quid, easily. Yeah. And they put me in a wig, and there was a few lines, but they got cut, I think. And even when I'm doing them, you're going, these aren't staying in. This is fucking rubbish.
Did you not know then? Like, I know you said there, but would you not know it had been cut till you watched it back? Or
nah.
Jesus.
No, they're not going to tell me. I've been cut from something very, very recently that I was in and didn't find out.
I'm a big fan of Brassic, but your episode was great, and there was another one when they go to Germany.
Was that a good one?
That was a good one.
And a boss one about mine. Really could have had
that was a good episode.
Reacting.
Yeah. Like, you're acting in it, and it's sort of like, I always love it when you come. I know you said like you can't be in it all the time, obviously, with the character, but when you come in it does make a good episode when you're in it.
Oh, mate, like, yeah, people buzz, and I was just made up, like, when the episode started, and it was guess who's back, like, on the thing, driving the Ferrari and stuff. I'd lost so much weight when I was about to film that, because initially when all that got ripped off, then the jacket was going to come off. I'm not in bad nick anyway, because I'm boxing all the time and I'm always training. But when I watched it back, I realised, fucking hell, Karl, you look skinny there, bro. But there was one shot from behind when I'm walking through the club, and it's like close to my skull with all those fake tattoos on my head. I was like, oh, that looks really cool, man.
Yeah.
And Sammy Wyndham coming in like a rock star. Who was the girl who I snogged in the fantasy when I woke up. Who used to be in Emmerdale and stuff like that. So she was, that was, obviously it's always awkward doing things like that.
Is it? Yeah.
She was literally just, I was just snogging. So we kind of could chat first, and then you're trying to fire a million questions beforehand, so you know the person in some way better before you've got to just snog them, you know. But she didn't give a fuck. She was like, yeah, let's just fucking snog, you know. So because you've got to be really careful. You've got to, those things have got to be done right, you know.
Well, they're saying with Catherine as well, aren't they?
Oh yeah, Miss Tilsley. Catherine's fucking great. And yeah, a few of our scenes were cut, which I think sucked. But we had a few sex scenes. There were 3 sex scenes with me and Catherine in total, and 2 of them were cut.
Really?
Yeah, like at one point, we're doing this sex scene, and we've got like a rubber ball between us that goes in, and she's just on a table. I've known Catherine for years. She was in the 2nd season of Scallywagger, Catherine.
Being trolleyed as well.
Oh shit! Yeah, fucking hell, man, your knowledge is nuts. Yeah, she played Nick Blood's girlfriend in Trolleyed, and but you just realise how ludicrous the industry is, because I'm like behind Catherine, and we're just like that. No, like that scene in Love Actually with Martin Freeman, and they're just talking about the most inane things. But yeah, it's all a bit mad, and yeah, writing and producing is something I really love. I've written on and for loads of things, and countless scripts picked up. Nothing original of mine greenlit, but every single project that I've written's been picked up with the best casts attached you could imagine, best directors, best producers. But getting anything away on the channel's really, really difficult, man. Especially when they want to keep repeating things or recreating things. It's very, very hard. But you just have to navigate around that. And so I think now at the minute, the TV industry, if anything, because all you got to do is look at the testimonials on my site, milkpictures.co.uk, and it's the best people in the business saying the nicest stuff. You know, I'm good at what I do. So if that wall is seemingly fucking impenetrable at the minute, even though I know everyone in the biz and I can get to anyone I want, honestly, has never been, you know, Karl Pilkington, right?
Yeah.
Good mate now. Me and Karl, what happened was, it must have been about the third season of Brassic. And I had a couple of days down. I was living in Crosby. And little bookshop next door to mine. So I go to the bookshop, and there's loads in there. And he hates me saying this, but there's a few of Karl's in there. And I didn't know him at this point, but I genuinely don't think there's anyone that's ever made me laugh as much as him in my entire life. Like, I mean that, and I've told him this. From the podcast to Idiot Abroad, just unbelievably funny, like no word for word, nuance for nuance, everything. So anyway, but I'd never read any of his books. So I'm back in my yard and I'm reading and I'm fucking crying, laughing every line, which I don't really do. And so I'm kind of folding the page or I'm crossing or... and then I just went, me and Karl have both worked for Sky for years. You know, Trolley 10 seasons, Lucky Man I was in. Something else, Karl's exclusively Sky at that time. It's like, God, I wonder if we'd get on, because we're wildly different, but oddly similar. Like, honestly, like really, really different, but the nucleus is fucking identical. And I was like, fuck it, right? How do we get to him? Or how to become his mate? And I'm good at this. Like Jamie, a mate of mine who works for Milk, really good director and editor. And he's just like, you won't not allow something to happen. Just like, right, no, I've got to be his mate. So what I did was, I just, in as quick as it takes to read, I just wrote, he ain't heavy at the top of the page. Like, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. And they just wrote this synopsis about two brothers. One was put up for adoption at birth, it was me. One was older. Then they're brought back together because the dad's passed away, allegedly, leaving them in a will. But they've got to do like this road trip and tick things off to get the will in order to get it. But it's the dad isn't dead. He just wants to bring these together. He's good. But anyway, blah, 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 blah. And so I just wrote it down and then sent it to his agent at Curtis Brown, who I used to be with Curtis Brown, and thought nothing of it, because Karl says no to everything. You know, just, you know, a self-anointed grumpy bastard. He thinks everyone's a con artist, and you know, that's why he came up with bullshit, man. You know, and so I sent it, and literally the next day, I'm just sat there. I'm in Bow Street Coffee in Liverpool, writing, and an email comes through, and the subject title was just, all right. And I'm like, no. Then I looked at the fucking email address. I was supposed to say it. Don't tell the people his fucking email address. Didn't recognise that because it wasn't his name. And then I looked and it was him just saying, yeah, I think this is great. Do you want to meet up? So anyway, down to London a couple of weeks later, and Soho House. He booked Soho House. I was like, I thought you were fucking working class. And we ended up having a lunch for about 3 hours and just got on boss, you know, and ended up being matey, fully attached to the project and stuff like that.
What happened with that Karl Pilkington thing then? Did nothing come of it?
Well, that's where we're making it as a film.
All right, nice.
That's one of the ones that we're making as a film. There's another one called Svengali, which we think is great. And a mate of mine, Danny, who works for Milk as well, who's kind of between the two of us, kind of came up with that. Danny, a lot of that was his, actually. A lot of that idea was his.
What do you think of the future, like TV and stuff like that? A lot of people watch Netflix and streaming stuff now. Do you think it is dying, the TV?
Yeah. What do you mean, TV?
Yeah, like just channel.
I don't think the streaming phenomenon and online content is going anywhere other than going even more stratospheric. I can't see terrestrials and that in the next 20 years, personally.
Really?
I don't, mate, what the fuck do I know? But that's what I believe. Like, if you look at how people consume things, me included, mine's YouTube for all my boxing stuff, my music stuff, interviews I want to see, some news that I trust. And that's not a Trumpism there. I loathe that fucking what's it. But I just think now very few people other than of a generation, even one or two above me, make that the first stop of TV. Even Brassic now blew up when it streams, people blathering all at once, or when it landed on Netflix and things like that. You'd see, like I said before, the noticeable difference between when it's on telly and when it's on one of these streamers. So now I'm not one for, I've only come onto, and I might as well say this, and I only got onto Instagram because I wanted to have a Misfits fight and fucking shin some idiot. Like,
that's right. That annoying, that
mate, like,
stuff.
So that's the only reason I got on. So I'm not some like social media lover. I don't do TikTok. I've only got Instagram because I wanted to build some followers on there. So I had enough. Honestly, this is the truth, because I know that Misfits revolves around followers. I've done more than most of the people that have fights on there. And I think that would be enough. And I boxed for ages. But it's not about that. So I got onto it for that. And the reason I'm saying this is I'm not blowing smoke up online or the new way or TikTok and all that. I can't stand all that. But I just can't see that dissipating. You know, I can only see that getting bigger exponentially, you know.
You look at, like you say, that Misfits. I don't think, like, obviously, it's these, like, influencers that are fighting each other and stuff, but it is getting bigger than actual boxing. Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
like,
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. That's why, like, Molly McCann, man, she's at our gym now at No Limits. For the fact that she come out of UFC, she could have gone there, mate, and made millions and just ballooned some influencer. She's got into the hardest sport imaginable with boxing. Do you know what I mean? Like, she could have easily have taken that big paycheck, man. And I can see why, but I can't become a pro boxer. I can't do it that way. And I'm a good boxer for someone who's not a professional boxer. And I don't like that all of these people go on about the sacrifices they make and call themselves boxers when I'm in a boxing gym every day and I'm still a million miles from what professional boxers sacrifice. They have no idea. And they get in there and will make 50 times more than some of my pro lads, my pro mates make, which is annoying. So I want to get enough followers on Insta, and we've got a few routes in.
All right.
It's an ongoing thing. We really want this to happen, to get on a Misfits card and go and chin someone, like really chin them.
Like you say, it's like that.
But the reason I got into that is because all of this stuff now is bigger than the real stuff in some places. TikTok will get something wildly more than a huge 100 million budget drama on ITV. Like, it's how things are working now, and I don't think I think it's mad that a 12-year-old could have a phone and then just become a superstar by putting a phone there and can ratchet something up and get follows. Like, what you're doing there is amazing. I think your questions have been brilliant. You sit and listen. You're very good at what you do, man. So there's a lot of good, and I like YouTube for the good side of stuff. But I think the world is a little bit aesthetic and fame for fame's sake crazy now, more so than it ever has been. And apparently things have got better with Gen Z and stuff like this. And I'm not saying that there haven't been good things on that side, but I still think right now is very much focused on how much appreciation you can get in the quickest possible way. It used to have to be, you had to graft to get your thing, whereas now, you know, what's that balloon called? That Ibiza final boss?
Yeah, what has he done? What?
Mate, he's got a shit haircut. I've got that. Right. He's got a shit haircut and he's now charging 50,000 for DJing. Or I've heard that he might be having a Misfits fight. So it's that does blow my mind a little bit. And you then start seeing AI superstars. So you go, so it's gone from, you know, for me, I look at like De Niro and Pesci and real superstars and stuff like that, and then it's all moved now to that, and then it's or he went to reality TV, which then took over everything, and now it's people who aren't even on reality TV just can do a video which can rack up this, and so they get that, and then it's going to go from that to things that aren't even real. Like it's wild, man. It's really wild out there, and that makes me sound like an old fucking fart. But
No,
it is. It's just a little bit mad, all of that. So I do think. Just think now about immediacy. If someone's got a product they want you to consume, they want you to consume it immediately. That's on you. It's going to be a thing soon where, you know, the glasses and stuff. You've got the screen there. You've got that. You don't even have to be holding anything. It's just there. If they want you to watch their product, they want you to be able to watch it. If you're in fucking Marks and Spencer's food hall, you're on the train or you sat on the couch. So they don't want. I just don't think people with the money are going to put all that money in to expect someone to sit down at 8 p.m. anymore to watch a specific thing, or they will in 20 years' time. I just think things will have not evolved. I don't think it's evolution. I think it's regression, and but I think it's going that way. So that's why with me writing books and things like that, I'm glad that I haven't had one made yet, but I've got a great book agent. I've got my great book, and we'll see how it's received. But I've got that desire in that there, and I don't think that can really. I guess you could say AI could replicate stories, but I guess you could say that about absolutely everything, and then there'd be no point in doing anything. But yeah, it's a bit mad out there, man. But you got to just keep doing your thing, haven't you? And hopefully show that the reality of reality as opposed to fake reality or non-existent reality is better than the alternative, you know. And that should always pay off, really, if logic prevails. But, you know, look who's president, man. Do you know what I mean? Logic doesn't always prevail, you know. So,
you know, like you mentioned, people like going to sit down and watch stuff at 8 o'clock anymore. Like, you know, with Brassic, it's come out one a week, hasn't it? Have you noticed a difference with it like that than when it's out in a?
Yeah, I personally, from a selfish actor perspective, was happy with that last one because I thought there's no way of just rushing through everyone for that week. It's just that kind of Ronnie ep. So I'll be honest, I was quite happy about that. But as a consumer, I'll be honest, I want the fucking lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't be arsed waiting, man. I'm such a hypocrite. I'm like, it's fucking terrible, man. Like, fucking hell. We should just chisel it in a fucking rock. And then I'm like, no, Karl. If not every episode's lined up, I lose my shit, man. I want everything at once. Fuck it. Bring on the AI, man.
Well, yeah, honestly, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. Good luck with all that stuff. And
nice one, mate.
Send me any links and stuff, and I'll put them in description.
I will do that. Where shall I send to? Just on it on Insta.
Yeah, Instagram. Or
and then I will. If you put this up tomorrow, how do I get someone? How do I share it? And that I'm shit with this stuff.
What have you got? You got the Instagram, haven't you?
I've got the Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, are you older than me?
I'll send you the link.
Okay. Yeah, do that. Do that for us, La. Then I can put it up, and I'll do a lovely post about you as well. Right. And get people to get on you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate
that. You're very good at what you do, man. Well done.
Oh, cheers. Thank you. Yeah.
Great work for doing all this. And if you ever need me help to get to anyone that I might know or anything, give me a shout. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Like I say, I'm a big fan of your work. And
oh, mate, thank you.
It means a lot, honestly. And
oh, man, it's been fun. I wasn't expecting to chat this long. I was like, fuck this, man. I'll bang this out in 10 minutes and then I'm gone. I didn't smoke my joint.
No, I lost track of time being on it a bit, haven't we? But yeah.
Yeah, man. But no, it was good, that. So, yeah, pleasure, mate.